now we transition into our open Q&A. So whatever stuff's been scratching your brain this week, what things are you curious about, wanting feedback from other coaches, other clients? What's going on in your business? What issues you guys running into? Nothing's too inconsequential.
I had a question I put in the group chat the other day about switching over to my company from an LLC to a S. I'm not exactly sure the best way to do that. I have to get a lawyer or a CPA or. But I was thinking about making myself a W-2 employee. I'm just not sure if that's a good idea or not. I don't know.
Jordan, you got some feedback there? Seems like.
Yeah, we used our CPA. I think that was just put in the group chat as well. But we used our CPA when we did the same thing, sole proprietor to S corp.
Mm-hmm.
I believe if you have a business lawyer could do it as well.
Yeah. Getting some help to file the formalities. There's some things to be said, depends on, and don't know your numbers, Charles, but if you're not profiting very much as a business, it may not be the right time yet. Sometimes it's more advantageous to hold off on that or to claim losses as a sole proprietor versus going to the S corp, but your CPA will help advise you there. But I think kind of a working rule of thumb that we've heard before is around 100,000. If you're not able to clear about 100,000 in profit, then may not be the time yet. But definitely, it's the move we absolutely recommend to anyone when we can. Is moving towards that S corp because of the way the tax breaks down. Mr. Durant, got some feedback here, Mr. Edward.
Might have to unmute. I don't know if you're talking and we just can't hear you.
Might have been by accident.
If it's not, feel free to unmute later or throw it into the chat.
I think it's not. Okay. Any other feedback on that question there? Anybody else that's made that switch? It sounds like CPA's consensus of getting it done. Cool. Good question, Mr. Charles. What other questions do we have this morning?
I'm going to throw a huge monkey wrench in. I know everybody's got a different version of this. I need to tune up my estimation process. I've got a really great client sales kit, and I've been selling for a long time. I transitioned from a paint-only business for many, many years over to full-scale remodel within the last 3.5, 4 years. And I built a client sales kit so that there's not 3, 4, 5 appointments, right? I meet with them the first time. We address pain points straight away. That's usually why somebody calls, right? Is they need something handled. It's, there was a water leak in this cabinet, blah, blah, blah. And now we decided we want to do our whole kitchen, or we're so sick of the builder's grade bathroom, whatever. And then the wants follow that. And so I build a whole package, a whole presentation, essentially based off of these questions that I built. And it's really helpful. Guides me through a 30 to 45 minute appointment, keeps it very tight and right. I get a lot of photos, I get all the dimensions. And then I go home, I put the presentation together, and I come back and I meet with them and I sell on the spot. I do not email the proposal. Amen. But I need a better way to put my numbers together, not just simply markup. And Nicole was mentioning cost plus sales process, which I'm vaguely familiar with, and I have run a few times, literally just based off of Google searches and reading through some blogs about the best way to go about that. And so I'm sure I undercut my bottom line by not having my numbers really tight and right there. I would love to hear on, full scale remodeling, not necessarily like a whole house, but like, a kitchen or a bath, how you guys find that as presentable as possible for you getting your numbers together.
Lance.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I use the Redmond gave this to me. I had made something similar, but I used the project cost calculator. Is that something that his coach has given you? Has your coach given you that?
I just started 2 days ago, so that's a great tip.
Oh, if you
Project
haven't seen
cost
it yet, then
calculator.
Yeah.
you haven't seen it yet, then
Okay.
but yeah, so it's basic. I mean, I had made one and mine is exhaustive. Mine is, it's too much. It's
I
like,
did the same thing.
the curb, the shower wall, the
Yes.
glass, the partition number, like it's just too
What
much.
percentage everything should be for all the little minutia.
Yeah, but the project cost calculator, what they do is you put in basically your actual costs, and then on the bottom portion, you put in your total number of hours for your labor rate hours, and then it gives you all of your percentages that you should see. And so we use that just really as like a guide. And then what I've done from there is I've actually made templates for bathrooms, for kitchens, whether it's a small bathroom, medium size, large bathroom. And then that's just kind of like how I started. And then we tweak based off of looking at the past few projects and just make sure that our hard costs are actually matching up with our estimated costs.
Man, that's brilliant, Lance. So, and I've done the same. I built some templates for myself as well. I've been using Paint Scout for a long time, even though it's based around paint. It's just a really great tool for me to write up my estimates. And then I built some templates that have just the raw essentials of the basics, all the Curdy stuff that I need, all the thin set that I need, like everything for pretty much a standard project. And then we can tweak as necessary. But I love what you're doing. So you're going back after job costing, then comparing to the calculator to make sure that you can tune up that bottom.
Right. Yeah, it's like a tune-up. But yeah, essentially, yeah, looking up at those hard costs. But I don't get into the minutia of like, well, it was actually $63 and not $75. I don't do that.
Yes.
I kind of look at like we usually spend around $1,200 in Home Depot for this type of project.
Perfect.
Something like that. And then just kind of plug all those numbers in.
Man, that's brilliant.
Yeah, we actually use some pre-made software. We started off with a company called Methvin, and they're out of New Zealand, and it's a great software if you want to do takeoffs and estimating.
Mhm.
You build templates. So you go out. So for me, I go out and do a hall bathroom one time. I just create that into a template. Now every time I go do a hall bathroom, I only got minor changes to do. So somebody wants a floating cabinet versus a standard cabinet. And so we transferred out all the job treads so that we could add all the other features like, tracking employees and tracking expenses that Methvin couldn't do or didn't do for us. But we did that. We built templates. So I go out and do one estimate. That's how we built it. Went out and did one estimate, created a template on it. Now what I do is I just drag that template in when I'm doing an estimate, and then any specifics that they have, I change. And it's really quick. It's easy. And ours are very detailed because we're doing the cost plus. We show people every water line where we think we're going to use, every quarter turn valve, shower head, and down to plumber's putty. And so when somebody gets an estimate from us, it can be like 14 pages, right? But it's like, hey, this is what we think we're going to use in your job. And if we don't use it, we don't charge you for it. So that's the nice thing about job tread. I can just zero it if it wasn't used on the job. But if we add stuff, it's real easy to make that adjustment on the cost plus billing. We started off using Robert's mini budget, which was really good, but it's a lot of manual tracking. Now Job Tread does it all automated for us, and so our estimates are a lot faster. They're a lot more accurate. Customers seem to like it better because it shows everything that's going into the job. And if there's something that they want to do themselves or something they want to buy themselves or whatever, we while we're sitting with them, we can go, okay, well, if you're going to handle that, and then we just explain to them, if you buy it, we don't cover the warranty on the item or the replacement of it if it goes bad. But if you buy it from us, the reason you're paying our 35% markup is because it's buying you the warranty on it. And so it gives us the ability.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant because you run into that all the time, right? Especially when they're, we're kind of hitting the cap on the budget on this thing. What if my husband installed this or bought that or whatever? That's actually brilliant because I've been trying to figure out the most seamless way to navigate those situations while still doing the CYA, and having the warranty covered with the markup is phenomenal. That's essential.
Yeah. So
what was the name of that software?
We're using Job Tread now. We
Oh, you're
started
doing
with
job tread now.
yeah,
Okay.
we started with Methvin though, because it basically did the takeoffs and the estimates. But
Mhm.
now we're doing the back end, the employee tracking, the vendor interaction, all that stuff with Job Tread now.
Got
So,
it. Okay.
Yeah, but we won a bid last year. It turned out to be a $350,000 remodel, and the reason they said they went with us is because our estimate was so detailed.
I get that almost every single time. It's funny. When I first started using Paint Scout, I put together templates for, it was just, interior painting, exterior painting, cabinet refinishing, painter for a day, whatever. And I put in all these line items that I could just drag and drop. And I heard from a few people when I first started using it, they're like, wow, there's a lot of information in there. And I almost kind of took a little bit of offense to it, and I didn't say that to them, of course. But over the years, everyone has told me anytime that I've closed on the spot, especially, I'll ask them every time when we win the sale, I say, we're really excited. We're going to do a great job for you. May I ask why you went with us? Almost every single time, the feedback I get is, your guys' information was so detailed. I know what product is going where. I know what colors we've selected for what. I know the type of thin set that you guys are going to install and what the warranty is that comes with it. That gives them a peace of mind that they're not just buying something, they're investing. And I've seen, this still scribbled on carbon copy receipt paper estimates that it's been compared to. And so it's just night and day difference when you give them a proper presentation. I know a few guys that still print, like roll around with a mobile printer in their truck and print it out on paper so that they give them a physical hard copy. And I've heard this from guys that do that. They're typically, been in the game for a long time. It's harder to throw away an estimate that you have to take off your desk versus hitting delete on an email. And that actually makes them consider it longer when they physically have that copy. Plus they can highlight it, make annotations on it. Let's change this one thing. So I'm still considering doing that, but at this point with our sale, or our closing ratio, it's kind of like, I don't know if it's necessary, but it makes sense. And it's really, really essential, I think, to have that level of detail.
Yeah, and that's something that we did. Nicole kind of reinforced it with us. So we actually now print out the estimates. I put them in a binder. It's a floppy binder, but it looks real professional. It's got a cover page on it. And then we meet with the clients in person and present our estimates. And go over them with them. So, and I think it's made a big difference.
That is fantastic. Guys, I'm so sorry. I got to grab this call real quick. I'm going to hop right back on.
You're good, Jeff. Jordan, I see your hand up. Do you have a question, thoughts?
Question about warranties. So we recently had a warranty call that, so basically for service-based electrical, plumbing, HVAC, whatever companies out there, what is like your warranty verbiage? So we have warranty put into like our terms and conditions that are signed on every estimate, but like what is the verbiage for act of God, right? So we recently just replaced 8 pole heads. Pretty good job for us, right? We did them like, I think probably like 4 months ago. But every pole head went out. So in my head, that's some sort of like a surge. That's some sort of like an act of God. There's no way that 8 fixtures all fail at the exact same time in a line, right? Well, this apartment complex we replaced them all under warranty because it's under like our standard 1-year warranty. But I feel that in a scenario like that, there's something else that went on. So like, how is your guys' warranty work verbed for something outside of standard wear and tear items? I think that we kind of just took a hit on this one because they're a good customer and we want to, but by the time you're replacing 8 pole heads, a lift, all that stuff, it's a pretty hefty warranty job that we did,
Yeah, would love some client feedback there. People who have dealt with warranties, how you present it, what it covers.
Or if anybody be willing to share with me what their warranty verbiage is, if you have one.
Ours is pretty simple, Jordan, but we're not doing specific stuff, but we do electrical, plumbing as a GC because we have the license to do it. We do whatever the state requires. That's what we do, or the so we'll do 1 year parts, 1 year labor, unless the state requires additional. And unfortunately, I don't know what you do with the acts of God, because I guess for us it'd be a meteor going through a roof on a house we remodeled, but we just try to make the best of it. But when you have something like that, that one's tough, because when you have 8 components, so it'd be like 8 breakers failing on a panel we swapped out, right? And you can't get them to work. Well, where's the problem? Well, yeah, up in the attic you find out a rat ate through, but you can't see it, right? So you're tearing drywall off and something. So it's hard to go back and find what actually caused it. Yeah, that's a tough one.
The weeds on this one is one of the biggest reasons I had an aversion to getting into full scale remodeling. I am I love to help kind of person. It is so hard for me to say no to people when they say, hey, do you know somebody that does this? Hey, can you help with this? It's just so hard for me to say no. And that's how we branched out. But the reality is the cut and dry of leaning into the parts warranties for what it is that we're installing, right? So using quality shower valves versus some, off the shelf Amazon crap or whatever. Leading into what it is that they have documented, and you don't have to outline everything that the manufacturer says, but simply stating that you lean into their warranties, you trust their products, and that's why, of course, the client is trusting you to utilize your knowledge of what's the best thing to install. But then, like what was mentioned, if it's something that's outside of what it is that you have worked on, let's say you're tying into a line that you have no idea what's going on with that line, where it dives into the wall, if it's cloth wrapped, electrical or whatever the situation is there. So having some verbiage that tackles, happy to come out and give an inspection, of course, that is of no cost because that's under the warranty of the parts and labor. But if it's discovered that it's something beyond our control or beyond something that we did the work on, and then there's a charge associated with it at that point in time, I think keeps it really simple, because you've got to, it's your time. It's not just doing the work, right? It's the time that you are spending of your life to be able to go and do that thing. 30 minutes, an hour, 2 days, right? And so having that appropriate bottom line coverage minimum of what it is to get that tackled. But they're relying on you. And this is the thing that we always come back to, is if we can handle it, if it's something that we find and it's not something that we damaged or that can be replaced, if we become the hero, you create that lifelong client, instead of them having to go find somebody else to get the issue tackled.
Ryan, I like your comment here in the chat where it sounds like you charge a percentage of the warranty in your estimate, and then you hold that money in a warranty account. For those of you who are using Profit First, this would be a great when in doubt, add an account principle, where if you do have some type of warranty, it's included in their estimate and their price, where you put that money and we don't touch that money unless we need to go back out there to cover some warranty work. You can even make notes in your Profit First spreadsheet for how much money goes to what job, or in your CRM software, whatever it is that you're using, Job Tried, House Call Pro, Service Titan, whatever. But I do like that. And if you are running Profit First, that'd be a great thing. Similar principle, if you are in an industry where you are collecting deposits and you are not going to start that job for a while or order materials for that job, that's another when in doubt, add an account Profit First moment, where you can literally have an account that's just for deposits to sit in until you're ready to start that job, and then you would move that money or use that money. A little bit off topic, but just kind of a Profit First plug. I love that idea, Ryan. I'd never heard of that, but I think that'd be a great opportunity or a great account to add. Dalen, I also appreciate you putting your warranty verbiage in there. Jordan, I don't know if you saw that, but he threw his actual language of what they do. for my service guys, your software absolutely has an option to, when you close a job, to go over warranty, to have that language in there before the customer signs. And then for my remodelers, your software might have that. We also have our working agreement that you can add that language to it. It already has, I think, some of that language in there, Bryce, of, you know, what is and isn't covered. But that's always something that you can add to your working agreement, which again would be separate from your contract. It's more so the terms and conditions of working with us, where the contract's more so price and timeline. Dalen, what's going on?
Yeah, mine is somewhat vague on the warranty, but when we go on site and if there's any questions on it ever, and this is service and repair, I don't get into the remodels and the heavier construction. We do bathroom kitchens, but typically in that instance, it's luckily there's not a ton to go wrong there. But acts of God, we have had that happen. As far as we had a week or so ago, a sewer that we replaced, a tree fell and ripped the sewer out of the ground. The stub of the tree was so deep in the ground that when it fell, it broke the sewer. Totally out of our hands, nothing that we could have done to avoid it. But it goes to, and the way that I handle things like that is base it on the customer. Is that a customer someone that you want to do work for again? If it is, discount accordingly. Work with them on it because it's nobody's fault there. Although they were willing to pay full price, I discounted it, and they have given me a lot of work over the years with referrals and things of that sort. The good customer is going to understand kind of warranty on a general premise that things out of our control, they'll be willing to pay for it. And typically the people that are initially willing to pay for repair of something that we had maybe worked on 2-3 years ago, I'll discount that for them. I can't eat the entire expense, but give them some form of relief on the repair.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the biggest key here, no matter what industry you're in, is you are setting expectations before the job. You know, that you're just making it very clear what your warranty is, what you do and don't cover. If there is a manufacturer warranty, that we're communicating that, what that is. You know, if you're setting expectations, getting things signed, you might still get those people who are mad or don't understand. You're always going to get one of those crazy customers that no matter what you do, they're going to be crazy. That's just who they are. But typically setting expectations, I say that to say, if you do add a warranty, please don't just have them sign and not go over it. You know, setting expectations is the biggest part of having that warranty, and it's going to save you a lot of frustration in the long run. So make sure we're communicating that before we start the job, especially on larger projects. This is great feedback, guys. What other questions do we have? I see your hand up. What question do you have?
I have not a question, but just wanted to say something about the reviews. We're working on reviews, getting reviews. Got my crew to go help out with kindergarten. They have some mulch that needs to be spread out, and we went and helped them out with it, like for free. And the whole staff is giving us reviews now.
Heck yeah, that is a win and a best
20
practice.
steps.
Love that.
Yeah, they reached out this morning saying I just told them working on getting reviews and stuff. So that helps.
Yeah. Yeah,
Nice.
that's a great reminder. Friends, family members, vendors, subs, employees, you know, people who can testify to the quality of work they've seen you do is absolutely fair game to ask for a review. You know, I have remodelers telling me, well, Nicole, I only do like one job every 6 months. Well, I guarantee you talk more than one person in 6 months who's working with your company, I promise you, you can get more than just one review because you do one job every 6 months, so don't buy into maybe sometimes these false narratives. I love that message of, hey, here's an opportunity to get 20 or so reviews in a moment. I'm probably not going to get 20, but I might as well ask. It is totally fair game.
I asked my bankers. I'm just
They do business with you.
They do.
Yeah. I'm just asking because one of the GCs I'm working with asked me for a referral from my banker. I'm like, that's all right. Then if you want to do it that way, then we'll go ask the banker for reviews.
Yes. As you should. That's awesome.
So yeah, I'm just focusing on reviews now. I need as much as I can.
Yep. It'll pay out dividends. It's worth the effort.
Ah,
Anyone here will tell you for
yes.
sure. What other questions do we have this morning? Any other topics? Well,
Thoughts, things you're working through. Terrence,
Mr. Tate,
if you want to
You're-
unmute, there you are.
Hi, how are you?
Good. We're happy to
Well.
have you here. What's going on?
Okay, I got a real quick one here. Sorry, I'm in the office and my partner, he's at his desk too. So if you see
You're
someone
good.
floating around, it's my other partner. So, okay, I got a quick one. Just hearing some of these things. So I did a kitchen remodel about 2 months ago, and she was one of the quote unquote best customers I've ever worked with. She was an older lady, and she just was up or you know what's the entire time. She accused one of my guys of using her gloves. Just real finicky customer, just again, just one of those that you're not ever going to forget, So I really liked the customer agreement and stuff. Because besides the estimate, I'd never send anything like that, Obviously I have some terms listed out on my estimates, but sending some sort of separate customer agreement, kind of just outlining all the problems, like, all the ones you guys were talking about, I think would actually help a lot when it comes to an instance like this. So, again, we, did a full kitchen remodel. We removed her dishwasher, all appliances, so on and so forth. And so, when we were done with the kitchen, we obviously reinstalled her dishwasher, reinstalled her fridge, stuff like that. Well, about a month ago, very rudely, she was saying that her dishwasher wasn't draining properly, and it wasn't due to no fault on our end, as in, the drain line was hooked up, water was obviously, there's a water line ran to it, so on and so forth. So, she has sent me a few text messages about, when are you coming to fix the dishwasher? And I had politely told her several times, via text message, we are not dishwasher repairmen, Our job was to, reinstall the dishwasher. So we, supplied electric, obviously hooked up the drain line. Everything is draining fine from what we installed, but we are not, dishwasher repairmen. So what would be like a recourse to something like that, where, heaven forbid, she said something like, oh, I don't, oh, well, if you're not going to fix the dishwasher, heaven forbid, she said something about legal action or something like that, because again, she's older. She's really hard to get through with certain points, we had a mix up with the upper cabinets during my first walkthrough. I had asked her, we remove soffits. I said, do you want 30-inch uppers, or now that we have no soffits, do you want 42s? And she had said, I'm too tiny anyway. I don't need all that space with 42-inch uppers, So sure enough, I had her sign off on the material, sign off on the layout. cabinets come, we install, and 3 days later, she says she was not happy with the uppers. She wanted the taller ones. And I said, Miss so-and-so, I was like, we signed the layout, we signed off on the cabinet material, because I started really checking every box after the first few interactions with her. She was real nice in the beginning until work started. Then it was just, a whole different story. So,
Yeah.
Again, just problems with this customer throughout the whole process. But anyways, going back to my original question, how would you address that situation? Do you think I addressed the dishwasher problem correctly? Again, it's no fault of our own. We do not make the dishwasher. It was an existing dishwasher we just reinstalled. Yeah.
Yeah. Great question. Lance, I'm going to let you take over here. But before you do, Terrence, I love that you started to document everything. That is my biggest tip, biggest takeaway from that. Any change orders have to be signed and approved. If it changes the price timeline, we've got to get it written down. I don't care if they're the nicest person in the world. Save your tail, have it documented. And so I just want to touch on that. That is so best practice. But Lance, would love to hear some advice from you on this.
Yeah, Terrence, I noticed you've been going through it with this person, man. Seriously, and I think we've all been there before. You could feel
I'll
the
never forget her.
kind of
Yeah.
coming out as you're talking about it. We've all had many sleepless nights with that one, customer who kept you up thinking about, shit, I
Yes.
got to talk to them tomorrow and they're going to go off about this or that.
And they
It's
said
been
they'd
rough.
be the best one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
In my opinion, I feel like, this is from the owner perspective. I'll tell you, like, from an owner perspective, and then like from a business perspective, kind of like what I think of what I've learned, or what other people, maybe we could do differently. But from an owner perspective, I feel like whoever does your sales, whoever's had an interaction with that customer, those people need to be trained to smell the crazy. You really, really do, because there were other signs looking back where this person was that way. Now, when you look back and think about it, oh, the way that she made me take my shoes off, or the way that she did this or that, there were other indications along the way that told you this person was not your client. And I feel like that is a key piece to learn as a business owner. And we teach our guys, if you have a salesperson going into somebody's house and you're like, hey, this person there was something off. There was something really, really wrong. Because not all money is good money, right? Just like not all clients are good clients. And so being able to smell the crazy is a huge deal as a business owner.
Unfortunately, I sold the job, and she was so sweet and older, and
Yep.
I mean, I probably wasted 2 hours with her just during the initial consult, because
That's a red flag to me.
I was highly recommended, and that's why she had reached out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here. Oh, sorry, my partner was just telling. So here was another one. She had a bad hip. She was about to get surgery, and she asked me to grab her computer. So I didn't even think twice. I go upstairs, grab her computer for her, bring it back down again, just trying to go above and beyond. And not 5 days later, she called and said, "Hey, why was I upstairs so long?" And I'm immediately offended. And she says,
What?
her words exactly, "Don't get offended." She was like, "You didn't take a picture of my credit card information when you were up there,
Oh
did
my
you?"
gosh.
And I was just speechless. I was hurt, and
Yeah.
I had told her, I was like, I don't think this is going to work. And, she apologized, just said, hey, I've had real bad luck with contractors and so on and so forth. So, that was another one too, but I was almost past the point of no return at that moment. I had already paid for all cabinets. I already had things working, so I knew in the beginning I was in trouble, but again, the whole dishwasher thing, I wear my heart on my sleeve. It's been wearing at me, and I again texted her 2 separate times, telling her, we are not dishwasher repairmen, unfortunately.
Yeah. So one thing we do with appliances, specifically on kitchens, we don't reinstall people's appliances. And if people buy new appliances, I always tell them, I recommend whoever you bought them from, that they install them for you, because then they'll warranty them. But that leaves us off the hook, because I've installed, $10,000 Wolf ranges before, and the BTUs on this back left burner aren't getting, still manage heat or whatever. I'm not a Wolf range specialist. I don't want, my tile guy trying to install a $10,000 range. So we try to push that off of them. But seriously, in your case, like where you were with her, I probably would have bought her a new dishwasher and told her goodbye. That's what I wouldn't even have fought with you about that. I mean, I would have been like, here's $500 towards a new dishwasher, goodbye, and had her sign something. It's not worth it.
Okay. I didn't even think about that. It is. It's a really good
Yeah,
point.
I think at some point it's always worth asking, what am I willing to pay to get this person out of my life? And it's hard. Sometimes you want to go toe to toe with them, especially when they're the one who's in the wrong, and we can get that, justification wanting to, but at some point you really have to ask yourself, what price am I willing to pay for my peace to get this person out, to come to a conclusion so we don't have to fight it out or deal with this person any longer. I also find that usually legal action is more so a threat than anything, especially if it's over a small amount. Like it's not worth it for them to try to pursue it. They're going to spend more than they make from it. And so I wouldn't be too worried about that with this person, but I think that's really good advice, Lance, of, hey, what do we need to do to be done?
Mr. Dalen, you got some?
Was this
course here.
do you work in Alabama?
Who, me?
Is this client in Alabama?
You know her?
It's the even to the hip, to the T.
No way.
The most
So
difficult
sweet,
client.
bought us lunch. I mean, and then she just flipped one day and just started picking everything apart. And I mean, my guys were even uncomfortable working there, and I would tell them, like, let's just complete everything. I pulled permits. All the work we do is permitted. We're right outside Chicago, so we stick to the south suburbs, so higher end areas. All the work is permitted. I had all the final inspections passed. So it's not like I wouldn't have a leg to stand on, because again, everything has been inspected. But just so sweet and nice. And man, did she pull the rug from under me.
Yeah, I agree with Lance. I would have at least, even if not a whole new one, I would have sent an appliance repair guy out there and said, hey, go check this out. See if it may be the drain in the wall, could be full of grease. And when that discharges, it's backing up one way or another. Just ate that to do rid of her. And that's what we had to do with the client, very similar to yours. I call this lady now, she's in our client list, is the Rapture lady, because last year she spent in a month's time $250,000. This is where I found out everything was crazy. She spent $250,000 in a month's time preparing for the rapture that was apparently about to happen.
Wow.
And
What's she preparing with money for?
she, her son wasn't going to make it. Her and her oldest son,
She's
but
preparing.
her youngest son wasn't going to make it in the rapture. So she was preparing. They have a self-sustainable property. At any rate, we worked on this 50,000 gallon rainwater retention system that was curious to begin with where the plumber was that installed it. Come to find out, they had to fire her as well.
Oh gosh.
It was miserable. I ended up losing money on the job, but she's now on no call list.
Yes.
Yes.
Not worth
You
it.
can fire clients. To Lance's words, not every client is your client. Not all money is good money.
Yes. Great
But-
advice.
So do you think maybe, even though it's been, she actually just prior reached out to me about a week ago. And it was 7:30 in the morning on a Sunday, so I waited till Monday. Again, they have to wait for our hours, right? So I had tried calling her Monday, and I texted her. I said, I tried reaching out. Please give me a call. Haven't heard anything back from her, but I think I'll take your advice. And if she does reach back out, I'll be like, I'd like to send an appliance repairman. And if it's $250, $300, whatever, just eat it and then be done. So
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
And most appliance repair guys, as long as you don't call these huge outfits, if they go out and they look at it and they're like, hey, I can't do this. This is a plumbing related issue. It needs a snake ran on the drain. The ones that I use, and I've got 2 or 3 local to me, they don't even charge a diagnostic. They go look. If they can't do anything, they push some buttons and see that their unit's fine. They leave, and then you just get a plumber out there, snake the drain. And Tell her thank you. It was a pleasure working with you, and never pick her phone call up again.
Solid advice.
We do the kill them with kindness thing, even the crazies.
Yep.
We just keep giving them just, we'll even
The way to do it.
we'll get tacky with the kindness to where it's almost
I-
overbearing.
I try
Yeah.
when she accused one of my guys of wearing her gloves for work because they were by the front door. And again, we were moving a bunch of stuff. I literally bought her a whole like 5-pack of gloves from Home Depot, and she took them and threw them out the door because I would not admit that one of my guys used her gloves. Yeah, it was just it was one of those. So thank you again. I appreciate it.
Oh, I feel like we could probably spend all day going toe to toe with crazy clients. I even have a few I could throw in there. We all deal with it. That's the hardest part of the job, is dealing with people. Unfortunately, it is nature of the beast. The good news is eventually your business will get to the point where you're having to deal with those people less and less. You've got people in place to deal with that crazy for you. And so it's a forever thing, meaning that you're always going to be dealing with people, but it's a temporary thing, meaning your involvement in it is not going to be forever. So keep that in mind. Great feedback today, guys, especially from clients. That's why this group call is so valuable, is getting that client to client feedback. So really appreciate you guys participating, coming with questions, having feedback. Guys, just makes this call just so much more valuable. So we're going to close out this call with a 3, 2, 1 growth. If I could get everybody to unmute. For those of you, it's your first time on. We do this every single group call. Have you unmute, and then we'll go 3, 2, 1, growth.
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 Hi, guys. Have a good week.